Hello everyone, it's time for Good Week Israel, where we bring you the most positive highlights from this week at ILTV. Get ready to smile because coming up, Google is planning to connect Israel and Saudi Arabia on a new level with a fiber optic internet cable. We visit a park that was once a waste dump. And finally, we'll meet a man who spent his life collecting dozens of music boxes and strange musical instruments from all over the world. Every winter, Redcrowned Eurasian birds make a stop at Israel's Hula Lake in the north for a stopover en route from Russia, Finland, and Estonia to Ethiopia. This year, the footage was captured with a drone by the staff at Hula's nature reserve. According to one employee, bird migration is like nature's clock.
Migration is like the big clock of Mother Earth, of nature. And you see this clock ticking every year, and it ticks very similar every year. Seasons are coming, birds are coming on the right time. And you also see differences between years.
I think the big impact of the COVID-19 virus or the coronavirus is not on the birds, but it's on people. We see in the last few weeks when people allowed to come and travel again, a crazy amount of people just want to go out, to be in nature, to see the birds, to breathe a little.
Haifa is proud to be the most multicultural city in Israel, and the Arab Jewish Cultural Center is the epitome of that pride. ILTV went to visit Beit HaGefen, an organization that aims to bring together Arabs and Jews to promote coexistence and tolerance. Take a look.
Hi, my name is Maya Youb. I come from a mixed family. My mom is Jewish and my dad is a Christian Arab.
May and many others like her was born and raised in Haifa, where she feels the most comfortable with her mixed background. And today she's an active volunteer at the Arab Jewish Center Beit HaGefen in central Haifa.
We want people to learn to listen to each other, to learn to believe that we are living in a multi-story society, and it could be, because people doesn't believe it can happen.
Since 1963, Beit HaGefen has been working hard to unite the various religions, cultures, and nationalities living in Haifa and other cities throughout Israel.
The city of Haifa has built itself a reputation of being the city of coexistence. You'll find here Jews living and working peacefully alongside their Arab neighbors. How and when did Haifa become the center for coexistence?
I think the secret of Haifa is being a mixed city. Arab and Jews lived together from before 48. If you think about Israel, it's the only city in Israel that was mixed before 48. The first mayor of the modern Haifa was Hassan Shukri, an Ottoman Muslim mayor who actually set the path for tolerance by recruiting the tiny minority of Jews who were here then into the municipality.
Today, Beit HaGefen uses art and culture to bring locals together by initiating fun activities and events.
Art is a neutral thing, is an international language, and everybody can interpret his own interpretation and nothing is wrong. And we also have a culture department who does small events, but also huge festival, one of the biggest in Israel, the Holiday of Holidays every December.
The Holiday of Holidays is one of the biggest events in the country, with over 400,000 people attending from all backgrounds.
People are coming because they want to live the dream, and the dream or the wish or the desire of it can be different. We can live together.
Exhibitions by many different artists are also showcased with an aim to break down barriers and build trust between the various communities who call Haifa home.
Here we collect smells. If you think about a memory of smell from the age of 5, for example, it will always bring you back to some place, room,
definitely. The sense
person.
of smell is a very powerful one.
Very powerful. Collection is not for nothing. We collect by your narratives, you collect by your memories. So here we can speak with group about this question, for example, and immediately from the smell we go back to narratives. How do we do it? So you see this is, for example, za'atar. So you put the za'atar in, you warm it, and it evaporates, it's steaming, and then it goes back to the bottle in cold water and becoming back liquid. This room is right now is collecting smells from the shuk of Wadi Nisnas, from the market of Wadi Nisnas. It's all baladi. Baladi is natural.
I sometimes love going to the market just to catch all the aromas in the air. You know, the fresh spices and veggies.
Next time you can bring something from your home. It won't be a plastic toy, I hope, but something, some flower you like in the garden or whatever, and keep the smell. And this is your memory.
Something that represents your own culture, right?
Yeah.
And za'atar is a very prominent spice in the Middle East.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
true.
anyone could recognize the smell of it.
So this work I love. It's a work of an artist, Jewish artist called Paz Hadas. Like in life, she says, you have your space, this is this one space, and there is another space over there. And it's very easy for me to get to my space, let's say, okay? This is mine, my place. But if I want to get to the shared space, you see, only this place is shared, both together. It's become harder for me. It's hard to get in, you have to work hard, and it's like in life, you say.
Beit HaGeffen also offers tours to those interested in exploring the lifestyle here in Haifa in depth. Participants get a first-hand view of where the locals live and soak up the regional culture in an Arab village situated directly in the heart of the city called Wadi Nisnas.
Good job. Ooh, yes.
Today, the village serves as an open art venue which they called the Museum Without Walls. This art route is the first of its kind in Israel, with permanent displays of artwork which encompass the themes of tolerance and Jewish-Arab dialogue.
So we have here peace. Do you see what it is?
Coffee?
Coffee.
Coffee glasses?
Exactly.
With
Do you
the
know?
finjan?
Yeah. Do you know the most famous coffee in Israel? What it is called?
No, what is it called?
Café Hafuch,
Okay.
which is upside down. The most Israeli name.
It's like a cappuccino.
Yeah.
Is that why this whole thing
Yeah.
is upside down?
Or maybe it's the influence from each other. Like, you know, today you walk and you can hear many Arab use a word in Hebrew, and the Jewish use word in Arabic.
Coffee is a very neutral thing. Everyone enjoys
Yeah.
coffee. Here you could see that instrument that the Arabs usually use to crush
Exactly.
the coffee beans, right?
All this is from Arab culture.
Look what we have here, a chicken just roaming the streets.
Okay, we have here another piece of art. It's called Ki Adam Etz Hasadeh. Do you understand? Ki Adam, it's the person, the human. It's like the trees in the field. It's olive trees, and you see the faces. And she said, like, stop, or asking for something.
And what do we see around her?
In the
Birds.
exactly, like if we make it two pieces, until here it's like sad, ask for help.
Yeah.
And the up part, it's more optimistic thing, all the symbol of hope. And
You can see the white dove, which symbolizes peace.
we can see like this dialogue between the situation and between hope. Okay, we have here a piece of art, and
It's like a giant safety thing.
exactly. It's like the map of the Mediterranean, and in north part it's open. It's in the Middle East part open. So safety pin, open. What it mean?
It's not safe anymore.
Yeah, it's not
open.
safe in this part of the
I
map.
The artists behind these pieces are from very mixed backgrounds, with Jews, Christians, and Arab Muslims all contributing to these works. But what they all have in common is an appreciation of art and the freedom to pursue their passions safely here in Israel.
Mazal tov to Israeli judoka Peter Palchik. He won the gold medal in the under 100 kilo category on the final day of the European Judo Championships in Prague. He defeated his Russian competitor, who was last year's winner, in the final. The achievement was a personal best for the Israeli judoka, who won bronze at the 2018 European Championships in Tel Aviv. He is also set to take part in the postponed Tokyo Olympics in July 2021. The Israeli president tweeted to show his support, saying, "Our hearts have grown watching you undefeated tonight in Prague." What was once a waste dump is now a beautiful park. Ariel Sharon Park is one of the biggest environmental rehabilitation projects in the world, and ILTV went to check it out.
Each year, 6.2 tons of waste is generated in Israel, and this number is constantly on the rise. But what if there was a way to utilize this waste into not only something pretty useful, but beautiful and giving back to the environment? Well, today we're here at Ariel Sharon Park, which is the biggest environmental rehabilitation project in the world.
You'll find many parks in Israel perfect for a stroll through nature-filled scenery, but if you're looking for the biggest and greenest in the nation's center, Park Ariel Sharon is the place.
Look, this is the first of the hollyhocks I've seen this year.
Wow.
Gradually, those purple flowers will spread up there, so the whole thing will be a whole
it's beautiful.
pillar of purple flowers.
How many different wildflowers are here at the park?
Wow, dozens of them. Some are naturally seeded by the birds and by the wind, and some we have seeded ourselves.
As beautiful as it is now, you'll probably be surprised to see what sight greeted anyone who stood here just a couple of decades ago.
This is what it looked like
Wow.
if you were standing here 20 years ago.
Since 1952, this site served as a giant waste dump, with more and more garbage trucks unloading tons of trash daily.
We reached a height of 180 meters, a width of about 400 yards, and the length of about 3/4 of a mile. We're talking methane gas pouring out of the mountain, explosions on the mountain because the gas is flammable. We're talking about pollution seeping through the water into the streams that run alongside the mountain, the smell and the bugs which are reaching all the residents living around here.
But if bad smells weren't enough to cause a change, a combination of hungry seagulls circling above the dump and proximity to Israel's main airport did the trick.
We had pilots who were flying through flocks of seagulls in order to land their planes. We had seagulls being sucked into engines.
Sounds like one big nightmare that needed to be changed.
Finally, in 1998, Israeli law banned the mountains of open garbage, instead requiring closed and sealed landfills. Today, the park's 100-acre mountain is covered in a lush carpet of grass, making it easy to forget what's underground.
It's crazy to think that right under our feet is all of this massive piles of garbage.
It's still all there. The garbage hasn't gone anywhere.
How do they prevent it from, smelling?
Okay, so the essential project was to cover it over. Literally the whole mountain is covered with silicone plastic sheetings, which seal in the gas, seal in the smell. The rainwater doesn't soak in through the mountain, causing garbage juice to go out. We're harnessing the rainwater and filling our lake with it.
So this is like a self-sustaining
ecological lake.
To prevent the harmful gases from getting stuck in the mountain, there are pipes which act like a suction to get the gas out and transfer it to a nearby factory.
It seems like a lot of thought went into gardening. There's so many different kinds of species of plants and herbs and flowers, right?
It's obviously when you're starting apart from scratch, I mean, you've got a blank page. The main focus you're seeing here is our medicinal and perfume herbs, which we planted here because the mountain was smelly and sick. It was ill, it was not healthy, it smelled really bad. So we want now people to come away with like a better impression, a fresh impression. So we planted here, well, this one especially, this is commonly known as za'atar, the Israeli Mediterranean spice. You can smell that.
So this kind of takes away the smell of the waste that's underneath us?
Not only takes away, it has amazing health property. This is antibacterial, antiviral, antiseptic. Just you wait till you try this. This is my favorite. It's called Zuta Levana. In English it's called white savory, and the smell's gonna blow you away.
Wow.
See, it's actually got
minty smell. Can I eat it?
You can try. It's like eating gum, and it's got a little bit of a...
It's a little sour. A little bitter. It smells way better than it tastes.
One of the main principles of the park is the premise of sustainable development. And here, it's easy to spot many examples of ecologically friendly building materials used in features throughout the park.
So we use as many local materials as possible, and right in front of us we have here what we call our terraces, which are holding up the garbage, and the material we've used is recycled building material.
Wow, so you guys completely found a new purpose for all of this material.
This concrete was once part of old buildings, which have since been demolished. And instead of it going into a landfill, the park repurposed it into something useful.
There's a few advantages of having this recycled material. It saves money and it also has this unique charm that I think people would
love
appreciate.
it. Our benches are made out of recycled wood. We are building around the mountain an embankment that goes all the way around the mountain, and that is entirely made of ground up recycled building material.
The park also plans on opening up more and more land, eventually totaling 2,000 acres, which is triple the size of New York's Central Park. Now that's something to look forward to.
Israeli scientists are usually at the forefront of science and medical research, but this one's a doozy. One professor from Tel Aviv University is claiming that he can reverse age. Professor Shai Efrati, together with a team from Shamir Medical Center, found that when healthy adults over the age of 64 were placed in a pressurized chamber and given pure oxygen for 90 minutes a day, 5 days a week, for 3 months, not only was the aging process delayed, it was actually reversed. According to the study, the changes were equivalent to how the participants' bodies were at the cellular level 25 years earlier. Next, ILTV met a man who spent his life collecting dozens of music boxes and strange musical instruments from all over the world. Watch this.
Within the village at En Hod sits a museum which holds the finest collection of music boxes and other musical instruments. A resident of En Hod for almost 2 decades and collector Nissan Cohen had a huge passion for music for as long as he can remember. So let's go meet the guy.
ניתן לו את הקוויץ.
רגע, איך קוראים לארבעת אלה?
שכחתי.
In today's electronic world of iPods and internet radio, it's easy to forget the ways music was once played back in the days before electricity.
I'm happy, so happy, get someone I care for.
Put the coin in the slot.
And then you can disappear if you want. Put it in.
One man has made it his mission to showcase as many of these as possible right here in Israel. Nissan Cohen entertains groups of all ages, educating them on the evolution of music.
There's a rainbow round my shoulder, and a sky blue above.
His collection offers visitors a glimpse into the past, and unlike many museums, you get to hear the exhibitions playing the same timeless music they've played for generations.
תשמע איזה יופי של שיר האמריקאי, סטיבן פוסטר, הוא כתב שירים נחמדים, תשמע איזה יופי.
Nissan's charismatic, humorous personality makes the tours light and fun, with plenty of laughs as they explore his unique items.
If I had to guess how many pieces I had, I'd say there were about 23. One was blonde. Oh, excuse me, I got the wrong idea. May you cut that? Yes, I found my music boxes everywhere, in Africa, in Alaska, in South America. If I would try to count how many I had, I would say it was over 200 pieces, at least maybe 250.
The music box, called the Regina, was what started it all for Nissan back in 1963 during his trip to Venezuela.
I'm looking, of course, at antique shops that I always loved. And there's a woman there standing, and she shows me this box. I said, what's that? She said, it's a music box. And to me, a music box was a little ballerina that's spinning on some jewelry, you know? And I said, music's awful big. And she played it for me. I said, sold. La, 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 la. And the sound of the music was so real. I'm so sick of hearing records and duplicates. This was live music.
These early devices often last many decades longer than modern electronics because they rely on more simple mechanisms.
פתאום כל הבית חדשות, שוויץ, גרמניה, צרפת, הם בנו הרוב מהתיבות, כולם מתחילים לסגור. נגמר מוזיקה רמה כזו, עד היום אין דבר כזה.
Thomas Edison's breakthrough invention, the phonograph, led to the demise of mechanical music boxes, which simply couldn't compete.
This is an example of one of the first phonographs that Edison produced. He produced many, many of them. It just completely destroyed the industry of music boxes.
Nissan ends the tour with a grand finale, with a beautiful band organ he received as a donation from a collector in Belgium.
And now it's in Israel. The only such organ in the Middle East. There's no one anywhere has one like this. And it's a marvelous machine.
The organ is completely handmade out of carved wood and consists of 640 pipes with fun dancing characters.
And finally, Google is planning to deploy a fiber optic network cable that would connect Israel and Saudi Arabia to open a new global internet traffic corridor.
Because of political conflicts in the Middle East, almost all of the internet traffic between Europe and India currently goes through the region's one relatively neutral country, Egypt. Google, which is competing with Facebook to build high-speed cable networks worldwide, wants to change this dependency on Egypt by running its planned Europe to India cable over Israel and Saudi Arabia. According to the Wall Street Journal, Google's planned cable would for the first time connect through these two historical enemies, Saudi Arabia and Israel. The Journal says the breakthrough project follows deals orchestrated by the Trump administration that have created new diplomatic relationships between Gulf Arab states and Israel. The Journal reports that analysts say the Egyptian government charges telecom operators some of the heaviest fees to traverse its land and waters, which can add up to 50% of the cost of a route from Europe to India. Expanded connectivity between Europe and India would also help Google roll out data centers globally.
And that's all for today's Good Week Israel. Hope we've helped you start your week off with a smile. I'm Chana Rifkin. See you next week.